uh, Virgo, I need you to set something down for a moment. Whatever expectation you walked in with about what this message was going to say, whatever version of the future you have been holding, in the organized and precise way that Virgo holds things, set it down, not permanently, just for the length of this message, because what I am about to tell you did not come from the direction you were watching. Welcome, and let yourself be surprised. Something is coming, and I want to be direct about the nature of it because it has two qualities that I want to name separately. Before I describe what is actually moving toward you, it is unexpected, by which I mean not arriving through the door you have been monitoring, not in the form you have been quietly hoping for, not on the timeline you had calculated as realistic from somewhere else entirely, that you were not specifically watching because the watching had been directed elsewhere by logic and history and the reasonable expectations of someone who bases their predictions on what has been true before. And it is powerful, by which I mean this is not a small shift, not a marginal improvement, not an addition to what already exists. That leaves the fundamental structure unchanged. This is a reorganizing of something at the level of foundation that changes what is built on top of it. Consequently and completely, let me start with who is coming, because the title says you will not believe it. And I want to speak to that specific quality before I describe the person themselves, because the not believing is part of the story. You will not believe it. Not because it is improbable, but because it is someone who you had filed in the Virgo way into a particular category, and what they are bringing and who they have become. And what they represent now does not fit the category you filed them in and requires a reclassification that the precise Virgo mind has not yet made, because the data that would justify the reclassification has not yet arrived until now. This person has changed, or the context around them has changed, or both, in a way that makes them now something other than what they were when you last processed them through your understanding. And what they are now is arriving toward you in a form that your previous understanding of them would not have predicted. I want to tell you what kind of person this is, so you can begin recognizing who I mean when they arrive, or when the signals of their arrival begin. This is someone who has been in your awareness, not as a stranger, not as someone entirely outside your current life or history, but as someone whose significance to you was perhaps underestimated or set aside for reasons that made sense at the time, and that the current moment is quietly revising. They carry something for you, something that has been building over the time since you last really looked at them, or they looked at you in the full attentive way. That produces the kind of recognition that changes how two people exist in relation to each other. Going forward, what they carry for you is real, and it is more than you know, and it is coming towards you. In whatever form the coming takes, which may be a conversation, or a reaching out, or simply a change in the energy between you that you feel before you can explain in the specific way that Virgo feels things. Before the analysis has time to frame them, now I want to speak about the powerful change, because it is in the title and it is real. And I want to give you the full picture of what it means. In the specific context of your life right now, in this season, the powerful change is not external, not primarily. It begins with something arriving from outside you. The person, the unexpected direction, the something that was not in the plan. But what makes it powerful is what it produces inside you. A reorganizing of how you have been seeing something or someone or the possibilities available to you. In this chapter of your life, a reclassification in that precise Virgo filing system that has been operating with outdated information, and that receives new data now. Data that requires the system to update. And when the system updates, the entire picture shifts. Not just the one file, the whole picture. I want to speak now about what this change might affect concretely, because Virgo needs the concrete alongside the energetic, and I want to give you both. In your understanding of what is possible for you in love or connection, something is about to be revised. The ceiling you have placed on what you allow yourself to expect or hope for or require is about to be raised by the arrival of something that demonstrates in the most practical and undeniable way that what you had stopped expecting is actually available and was always more possible than your careful management of expectations had allowed for in your sense of your own position. Something is about to shift. The particular Virgo tendency to undervalue what you bring or to measure it against an impossible standard and find it wanting before anyone else has had the chance to find it extraordinary is about to be challenged by evidence that arrives from outside your own assessment in a form that is harder to argue with than your internal critic. And in your relationship with the unexpected, something is about to change. The Virgo preference for the planned and the predictable and the sensibly anticipated is about to encounter something that could not have been planned for. And that proves in the most experiential way that some of the best things are specifically the ones that the planning could not have produced. I want to speak to you now about how to receive this, because Virgo and surprise have a particular and specific dynamic that I want to address directly so you can navigate it with more grace than usual. When something unexpected arrives, the Virgo response is to process it immediately, to run it through every relevant system, to check it against what was expected, and understand why the actual differed from the anticipated, to find where the prediction went wrong and correct the model so future predictions are more accurate. That process is valuable, and it is also, in this specific case, not what the moment most needs from you. What the moment most needs from you is presence, the specific quality of being fully in what is happening without simultaneously running it through the analysis. Let the analysis wait for once, for just the first part of what is arriving, and be in the arrival fully as it happens, because what is coming is the kind of thing that rewards presence, that is received more fully by someone who is actually in the moment than by someone who is processing the moment. While it is still occurring, and therefore only half there for what the moment is actually offering, be there for it, Virgo, all the way there. When it arrives, whew. I also want to say something about trust, because what is coming will require you to trust something. That your usual preference for evidence and demonstrated consistency before fully believing will want to delay until more data is available, until the pattern has been established over enough time to justify the level of trust that this moment is asking for. Trust slightly ahead of the evidence. This time, not blindly, not without discernment, but ahead of where the evidence currently sits by a small margin, the specific margin that allows something new to find enough space to breathe before the Virgo analysis arrives, to assess whether it deserves the space it found. The surprise is real. The person is coming, and the powerful change that follows their arrival is going to be the kind that Virgo looks back on and understands in retrospect as one of the turning points in the larger arc of their story. Those moments do not always announce themselves with the gravity they carry when they are actually happening. They often arrive quietly in the form of an ordinary day that turns out to be anything but. Stay open today and tomorrow and in the days that follow to the arrival of something that did not come from the direction you were watching. That carries more than it appears to carry. That deserves to be met with the full presence of someone who has prepared themselves by simply remaining open when the careful planning would have closed the door through which this is about to enter. It is coming, Virgo, from somewhere you were not watching, in a form you were not expecting, carrying something powerful that is going to change what you thought you knew about what was possible for you right now in this season of your life. Whew. Let yourself be surprised. It is safe and it is coming, and it is for you